You're watching KUJH TV, Lawrence. KUJH TV News starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Juliana Tidwell.
And I'm Brittany Clampett. Thanks for joining us. Well, it's that time of year again. Stop days tomorrow and finals are just around the corner.
That's right. With the end of the semester spirit, we're going to do things a little differently today. Today we're going to take a look at some of the best stories we covered throughout the fall semester. The KUJH population has increased from 1,300 to almost 2,000 students in the past few years. Many of these students follow a kosher diet, which makes eating on campus difficult. KUJH TV's Jonathan Cooper tells us how the university is working to change that.
Thousands of students eat at Mrs. E's dining hall each day. And for good reason. Mrs. E's is the main food provider for those living in the dorms on Daisy Hill. But for the few hundred Jewish students who live in the dorms, their selection is limited because of KU's lack of kosher food.
It's a tremendous challenge. You could imagine what it means not being able to just eat with your friends.
Rabbi Zalman Teichtel has seen an increase in Jewish students at KU over the past few years, meaning there is a greater demand for kosher foods.
A big priority on top of the list for many families is what's the Jewish community like? What's the Jewish resources available? Are there services for the holiday? Is there kosher meals available?
In Judaism, kosher means food that is prepared as described in the Torah. That means meat coming from clean animals and using special equipment to prepare the food. Mrs. E's currently does not serve kosher foods, but that soon may change. KU's Assistant Director of Dining, Cheryl Kidwell, is overseeing a project that will renovate Mrs. E's this coming summer and will include an area designed for students with special dietary needs.
The hope is that that concept also is able to meet the needs of, like we say, our special diet students, be it a food allergy situation or kosher, halal, that kind of thing.
Kidwell says there will not be a full kosher kitchen, but there will be kosher foods available. Teichtel believes this is a step in the right direction and shows him that the university truly appreciates diversity.
For them to take into consideration and to go the extra mile to accommodate this unique community at KU has been very meaningful to us.
Construction will start this summer and should be completed by the start of school next fall. Jonathan Cooper, KUJH TV News.
A 14-year-old Maryland girl who died from a heart arrhythmia after drinking 2 energy drinks within 24 hours has brought the safety of energy drinks into the spotlight again. KUJH TV's Charlene Chin has tips on how to drink energy drinks safely during the busiest time of the semester.
Every Thursday, KU senior Nathan Fordyce has classes from 9 in the morning to 9 in the evening. To make it through the 12 hours on campus, Fordyce says energy drinks become a must.
I like Full Throttle, Monster, whichever one's closest for me to grab.
Fordyce says he likes the taste of energy drinks and they give him more boost than a regular Coke. However, he says he doesn't know how much caffeine he's consuming since it's not labeled on the can.
To get the same amount of caffeine that you'd get by drinking 2 Monster energy drinks, you'd have to drink 14 12-ounce cans of Coca-Cola.
Recently, the Food and Drug Administration received 5 reports in the past 3 years, which suggest that people died after drinking caffeinated energy drinks. KU public health educator Ken Suber says, although no exact number shows how much caffeine is too much, there are warning signs people can look for.
They're going to have rapid heartbeat. Their blood pressure is going to climb through the roof. They're going to have trouble sleeping. If they're having any types of these symptoms, if they're shaking, then those are some key signs that their levels of caffeine are definitely getting too high for their body to be able to handle that.
Suber says the key is moderation. He suggests for those who are going to consume caffeine to pay attention to serving sizes on the cans, limit intake, and drink slowly. Charlene Chen, KUJH TV News.
Helium can make party balloons float, but it can also save lives. Currently, the nation faces a helium shortage. KUJH TV's Darren Dunn looks into the dwindling supply.
Behind this door, there is a magnet so strong that it has been known to whisk video cameras out of human hands. But Lawrence Memorial Hospital MRI supervisor Brian Bradfield says that the magnet cannot function without the cooling properties of liquid helium.
If the scanner gets too hot and there's not enough helium in it, it'll quench, which releases what existing helium is in there, and because it just gets too hot and it just starts to boil.
It takes approximately 750 liters of helium to produce 1 liter of liquid helium. To make matters worse, Helium is found exclusively in natural gas deposits. Helium is formed through radioactive decay that generates minute volumes. Finding enough helium has become a problem.
It'll be an ongoing problem unless they find new wells that they can pull from.
The shortage makes hospitals reliant on one another. When a hospital runs out of helium, it is sometimes up to a nearby hospital to forfeit any excess.
The system went down in Wichita and they couldn't get helium there, so they come and took our tank down to Wichita to have their repairs done.
Bradfield says the goal is to keep the machine above 65% helium, but with the shortage, the hospital has to sometimes make do.
When you're down to like 40-some%, and we could only get enough helium to get it to about 65%. We sat at that level for, gosh, probably 6 months before the helium shortage allowed us to get more helium in.
Having liquid helium in the machine, important. Keeping it in the machine, just as important. If it were to leak out into this room, it would suck out all of the oxygen. Machines that don't use liquid helium are available, but aren't nearly as strong.
Most of the scanners that are not superconductors that don't use helium are 1.2 Tesla down to 0.3 Tesla.
Common MRI machines range from 1.5 to 3 Tesla, a measurement that describes magnetic flux density. Many diseases can be evaluated with an MRI machine. The examination can monitor treatment of tumors, heart problems, and blockages. The machine is also useful in detecting damage done to the brain over a period of time.
There's some question with long-term changes, like the NFL players have had multiple concussions, then when they're 50 years old they're starting to get dementia. Now things like that would show up on MRI.
Keeping the MRI machine in business is important to keeping people healthy. To keep the MRI machine around, you may have to go without balloons at your next party. Darren Dunn, KUJH TV News.
Because MRI machines take priority, florists and party stores have been left without their helium supply for their balloons. KUJH TV's Darren Dunn explores how local stores have dealt with the issue.
Inglewood Florist President Carrie Ingle has been without helium since June and could be without the gas until January. Exchanging tanks between local stores or stores with helium outside the region is not cost effective.
We're already paying 2 to 3 times what we started out with into about 3 years ago. It's gone up that much, and you just cannot charge accordingly to make a profit on it.
Without helium, Ingle uses plain old air. The balloons make the perfect accent for all sorts of decorations. But without helium, as you may have guessed, these balloons don't float.
The only decline is if they want a full balloon bouquet. And we tell them we can't do it. They can be on stakes, and we can do it in a pot or whatever, and it'll look pretty cool. But most of them, when they want a balloon bouquet, they want something pretty big to make a big splash in an office or something, and that's not anything that we can do.
Until his helium order is filled, you will find Carrie Ingle hand-pumping air into a balloon, like you would a basketball. Mild winters led to the decrease in helium. Some stores were ready for the shortage and stockpiled, but those stores won't fill balloons until purchases are made. Last year, the Campus Art Walk used helium balloons as site signifiers. This year, however, KU Library's graphic designer Courtney Fote says she opted to use lanterns instead. While oversized balloons are more visible from a distance, the lanterns bring certain peace of mind.
We all felt better about not having both to spend hundreds of dollars on such a rare resource in helium and didn't have the guilt also that went along with that.
Even though helium adds a magical dimension to balloons, alternative measures will keep balloons around in the absence of helium. Darren Dunn, KUJH TV News.
Coming up after the break, we'll see how one photographer is improving the lives of homeless pets.
And we'll find out what Lawrence is doing to fight obesity. Stay with us.
Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. Go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and one volunteer photographer is making sure these pictures are saying the right ones. KUJH TV's Charlene Chin shows us how a good photo can make a big difference in the life of a shelter animal.
Lawrence Humane Society might not be the first place most people would go to find a new pet. Unlike a pet store, the shelter is filled with animals who are strays, orphaned, or unwanted by their owners.
We've had owners who have lost their job and they just can no longer afford the animal. Maybe they've moved. Landlords sometimes don't allow pets.
Helping these pets get adopted and finding them permanent homes became a little easier when volunteer photographer Brenda Gadd arrived.
Hello, Blue!
Every Wednesday, Gadd comes to the shelter and captures enduring portraits of dogs that are newly available for adoption. She's now been photographing dogs at the shelter for 3 years.
Nice boy. Oh, you beauty.
Every dog deserves a home and a good home, but various dogs take a lot more work. You can't just move them right in and expect everything to be wonderful.
So Gadd tried all kinds of different methods to get the dog's attention and entice them into best posing for a photograph.
Primarily food and squeaky toys. A lot of dogs are game-oriented, so if they hear a squeaky toy, they think, oh, there's a game happening. They suddenly feel very relaxed and what?
Nice one. Yay! Good boy.
The pictures Gadd takes become advertisements that the agency uses on its website to find homes for the pets. She tries to make the photos creative and loving. A dog with pearl on it, a dog with a jeweled tiara, a dog with a pair of sunglasses, and even a dog wearing a suit to get married.
The photos really draw people in. You know, a photo can kind of make or break the adoption.
Hollingsworth says a lot of pets are out of the shelter and now in new homes thanks to the help of Brenda Gadd's warm heart in her lands. Charlene Chen, KUJH TV News.
Playgrounds are often considered safe areas for children, but KUJH reporter Paulina Pengelly tells us a popular playground toy can be dangerous for small children.
Parents often place their children on their laps when they go for a ride down the slide, but they could be doing more harm than good. Laugh Out Loud Family Zone owners Christy and Charles Peterson understand how easy it is for children to break their legs on slides and try to make their own customers aware by posting safety guidelines.
I haven't seen parents going down with kids in their lap. I think at least here people are being cautious about it.
Doctors at the Winthrop University Hospital in New York found that 14% of leg fractures in children aged 14 to 32 months involve children sitting on their parents' lap while going down the slide. Lawrence Pediatrics MD Kirsten Evans says the injury is more common in young children because their bones are more bendable.
Usually the growth plate, what's called the growth plate, where growth is occurring, and that is a weaker section of the bone, so that can be more easily injured in terms of fractures.
Although there are not any national statistics, Dr. Evans says during the summer months she treats 3 to 4 patients a week with similar injuries.
So how can parents make sure their children are safe while going down the slide? The solution is simple. Let the child go down the slide by themselves. You can even take their shoes off to make sure the rubber soles don't get stuck on the way down.
Just being aware, being educated about it, but also not letting that fact completely change what we want to do with our children, but just changing how we do it.
With a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old of their own, the Petersons said they try to practice safe playing habits, but understand any apprehension parents may have about sending their young ones down slides by themselves. Paulina Pengelly, KUJH TV News.
Obesity is an issue the nation is honing in on. With schools providing healthier lunches for children and national programs like the First Lady's Let's Move initiative, the fight for improved health among the nation's youth is well underway. KUJH TV's Demetria Obalor sets out to see what Lawrence is doing to help.
Parents like Sonda Yellowbird know how important it is to teach their children to eat healthy at a young age.
My mom did not do it with me, so it's harder for me to make the transition. I feel if I start them young, they'll grow up and make healthier decisions easily on their own.
even if kids are learning how to live healthier lifestyles. If parents are not on board, the efforts of schools and health organizations are less effective.
At school, kids have healthy options available to them like fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, and even whole grain cereals. But at home, they have more indulgent options available. And let's be honest, I know which one I'd choose.
KU professor Shirley Hill has dedicated much of her career to studying the impact parents have on children.
Parents have a very powerful impact on their children. They are the earliest socializers of their children. And of course, when children are very young, they look up to parents, they admire parents and want to be like their parents. And so I think the impact that parents have on their children is really, it's very deep, it's very profound.
Community Health Improvement Partnership Director Janelle Martin says parental involvement is an essential element of her programs.
It's just really critical that we have everybody involved. So it's schools, it's community, it's parents, it's friends, it's neighbors, everything to get that, you know the old saying that it takes a village, to raise a child. So, I mean, we all need to be involved in that.
Events like Kicking It with WIC are examples of what the city is doing to get parents and children together, learning about wholesome lifestyles. 2, 3. Martin makes her programs free and accessible for parents with busy work schedules.
9, 10, perfect!
But even if parents learn more about healthy eating, some find it's more expensive.
What you're going to buy in terms of healthier food really is going to cost you more money. If you have any idea what apples and oranges cost in the store these days, they're really not very cheap.
If and when parents are equipped with the tools to encourage their children to live healthy lives, the results last. The community agrees. The cooperation of parents is key in getting youths to retain healthy habits. Demetria Ovalor, KUJH TV News.
Coming up after the break, we'll find out what campus police are turning a blind eye to.
And we'll see how one student group is bringing back the past. Stay with us.
I don't know what's in second or third place in most people's lives, but I know what's in first, our children.
Native American youth are the most at-risk population in this country.
And that's why I created the Center for Native American Youth.
We are working with tribes and families to improve the lives of Native American children, and most of all, promote hope.
We focus on preventing teen suicide and shining a light on the challenges Native youth face.
Please help us build better opportunities for Native American children. Visit our website.
You don't have to look far to spot crime on KU's campus. The one problem is, no one is stopping it. KUJH TV's Demetria Ovalor has the story from campus.
I don't know what's in second.
Jaywalking, although considered a minor violation, is against the law, and it goes unpunished at KU. The Lawrence Municipal Court's fine and bond schedule lists jaywalking as an infraction that can cost you up to $140 in fines and court fees. But that doesn't stop students like Cameron Janice, who get to class on time, by any means possible.
The worst example of jaywalking I've ever done on campus in my life will probably be longboarding down the street, and there's a bus trying to get the passengers going. I just cut it off so I can get to where I need to go.
Cameron's chances of being fined for jaywalking are slim to none because the KU Public Safety Office says it's just not an issue.
Between the students and the drivers, they interact for the most part fairly well. The university takes steps, being that the core campus is already restricted, so there's only a limited number of cars in that area anyway.
But KU Info booth worker Ellen Frizzell begs to differ.
Just earlier today, actually, I saw somebody walk in front of an ambulance with their lights on. It was a little crazy, just because obviously the ambulance is trying to get somewhere.
Captain Bailey says cases like this are not the norm.
While KU's Public Safety Office doesn't seem to find jaywalking a problem, other campuses do.
While KU jaywalkers stroll freely, students at the University of South Florida, Texas Christian University, and Ohio State University risk fines in an attempt to deter on-campus traffic accidents. Jaywalking is illegal, but until KU's Public Safety Office begins ticketing students for the offense, let's just say, rock chalk, jaywalk. Demetria Ovalor, KUJH TV News.
There are many different clubs at KU exposing students to new hobbies and subjects. KUJH TV's Jonathan Cooper shows us one that gives students a look into the past.
The 1930s were a different time.
Alcohol was illegal. America was in the midst of a depression, and the dancing and music was simple and clean. But fast forward 80 years, and things have changed. Or have they? On this Tuesday night, in a small room on the 6th floor of the Kansas Union, about 25 KU students, born in the 1990s, dance like their grandparents did. They dance the swing.
There are no words to really describe it.
A lot of us just get together and dance, and we do it just because it's fun.
The group is the KU Swing Society. And every Tuesday night throughout the school year, they pay homage to the past.
That swing area, including from 1920s and up and stuff, was you know, such an era in our time here in America.
We do like to get dressed up sometimes. We'll all get dressed up in like fedoras and suits and stuff and go out and dance.
But tonight, they look like any other college kid. Jeans and t-shirts, dancing to music that most kids their age have never heard. And apparently dancing the swing is addicting.
It's something that I think once you really get a taste of it and once you really enjoy it, it's something that's hard to stop.
So I decided I should try, learn a new hobby. They taught me in less than 20 minutes, and despite my struggles,
I'm gradually getting a hold of it.
Although I'm not very good, the faithful members that come each week are. They have dedicated their time to perfect something from the past, and every week they come and have fun, much like their ancestors probably did decades before. Jonathan Cooper, KUJH TV News.
Tired of being overcharged for having a car towed? KUJH TV's Paulina Pengelly tells us about the county's new plan to keep towing businesses honest.
Douglas County residents who call a tow company to have their car moved may not have to worry about unreasonable fees anymore. The Douglas County Commission passed a new bill that restricts participating local towing companies to a flat rate of $150.
So in the future, when somebody says, no, we want you to call one of your contract towers, we then call them on a rotation list, and we have a way to try to make sure that somebody doesn't get charged $810 or more for a simple tow.
Agreeing companies will be on a rotating non-preference list, allowing residents to use any tow company for the same price.
It's as simple as 1, 2, 3.
Choosing your tow company, make the call,
and tow.
The $150 flat rate came from surveying price regulations in other areas, such as Johnson County. But because the plan is optional, companies who are not on the list can still charge more than others.
For some reason you want that company and you specifically ask them, they could then charge you whatever you would agree to with them, or if you didn't negotiate a price with them, they could charge you whatever they wanted to.
Hillcrest record owner Jerry Taylor said he agrees with the flat rate because it will make their competition meet the same standards.
Personally, I thought it was too high, and obviously there was a lot of people that agreed with me, otherwise this bill would have not been necessary.
Although Taylor doesn't foresee a huge profit increase from the new bill, he is in favor of it because he says it will help level the playing field for the tow companies. Paulina Pengelly, KUJH TV News.
That's all for the last newscast of the semester. For breaking news or an update on what's happening around town, log on to kansan.com.
And remember, if you see news happening, tweet us at KUJH_news. We'll see you back here next semester, and from all of us at KUJH, have a safe and happy holiday.